Have you ever turned a minor disagreement over a parking spot into a full-blown neighborhood turf war? Or maybe, just maybe, you've escalated a totally simple sibling debate into a battle of epic proportions? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're basically acting as your structured study guide to unpack one of the most fascinating and honestly powerful placements in traditional Vedic astrology. We are talking about Mars in the third house. Now, if you're a beginner who's looking to really understand the mechanics of astrological energy, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down exactly what happens when the planet of war sets up shop right in your house of daily communication. We'll look at the symptoms, the pitfalls, and ultimately, how you can completely master this intense energy.
Okay, let's pull up our syllabus for today. We're going to cover defining Mars in the third house, key traits and challenges, higher versus lower expressions, handling scenarios and disputes, and finally, mastering Mars for leadership.
Right, let's dive into Section 1, defining Mars and the third house, and setting up those foundational dynamics.
So, to deeply understand this placement, we have to establish the playing field first. In traditional Vedic astrology, the third house is the arena of your immediate environment. This isn't about grand, sweeping life philosophies, right? This is your day-to-day reality. It's the text messages you send, your quick chats at the local coffee shop, your baseline communication style, and your relationships with your siblings and neighbors. It's also the house that's strongly associated with your natural courage, your initiative, and your competitive drive. Think of it as the literal local neighborhood of your life.
And then we have our key player, Mars. Mars is the planet of pure, unfiltered action. It represents immense assertiveness, super high energy, and above all else, a fighting spirit. So what actually happens when you drop Mars directly into that third house? Well, it injects a massive dose of that fiery assertiveness right into your everyday communication channels. It's considered a really strong placement because that natural fighting spirit aligns so perfectly with the third house's themes of courage and initiative. But as you can probably guess, having that much fire in your daily group chats requires some very careful handling.
Moving right along to Section 2, key traits and challenges, or how to recognize the symptoms in real life.
You might actually start nodding your head at some of these traits, recognizing them in yourself or maybe in someone you know really well. With this placement, communication tends to be incredibly direct and forceful. You speak your mind instantly, which, let's be honest, can sometimes come across as a little blunt. And since the third house rules siblings, sibling rivalry is almost a given here. We're talking intense power struggles over who is the favorite child or who got the front seat of the car, even if there's deep, unwavering affection underneath it all. You're also fiercely protective of your personal territory and reputation. Once you form a strong opinion, there is no backing down. You will defend it vigorously. But perhaps the most defining trait is your tendency to react instantly, coming back with full force before you've even fully assessed the situation.
Which brings us to the core challenge of the martial tongue. Because of that quick reacting, highly protective nature, small things can just explode. Without conscious awareness, a really minor misunderstanding with a neighbor or a brief little clash with a coworker over an email can rapidly escalate into a major dispute. You literally go from 0 to 60 in seconds simply because your core instinct is to strike back immediately.
So, what do we do about that? Let's look at Section 3, higher versus lower expressions, which is really a fork in the road for this placement. This is absolutely crucial to understand. This placement has a profound duality to it. On one side, you have the lower expression. This is when that Martian energy is completely unchecked, leading to recurring conflicts, maybe a bit of road rage, and just constant, unnecessary friction in your daily life. But on the flip side, in its higher expression, when that exact same energetic fire is disciplined, it transforms into exceptional courage and initiative. It's the same exact energy, just channeled with intention.
Let's zoom in on that lower expression for a second. If you find yourself resonating with the thought, every disagreement feels like a battle that must be won, you are definitely caught in that lower vibration. You're treating every minor debate, every tiny workplace critique, or passing comment as a literal war for dominance. It's exhausting, right? It turns your daily environment into a battlefield. And honestly, you're probably tired just thinking about it.
Conversely, this higher expression is the ultimate goal. I use courage and direct communication to solve problems and stand up for what matters. Notice the shift there? It's a real game changer. The directness hasn't vanished, the courage hasn't disappeared, but instead of fighting just to win some petty argument, you are actually using that assertive energy to courageously problem solve.
Let's take this from theory to reality in Section 4, handling scenarios and disputes.
When emotions are running high in your local affairs, you really have to hit pause and ask yourself a vital question. Is your communication functioning as a weapon or as a tool? Because a weapon destroys. It burns bridges and creates collateral damage in your neighborhood or at work. But a tool? A tool builds. It fixes things. It resolves issues. The outcome entirely depends on how consciously you are managing that inner fire.
So let's break this down into a few everyday scenarios you might actually face. Take a neighborhood dispute. The quick reaction for this placement is rapid escalation. Voices get raised, people get defensive. The calm fix? Forcing yourself to step back and assess the facts first before firing off a response. Or how about workplace politics? Your natural competitive edge might push you into this draining constant comparison with your colleagues. The calm fix there is to pull back and address the workflow issues logically, rather than treating your peers like rivals. And sibling debates? The quick reaction is jumping into an endless power struggle. But the real fix is to pause, put down your armor, and find that underlying affection that definitely exists beneath all that surface tension.
To actually prevent those unnecessary conflicts and move from a quick reaction to a calm fix, you need a reliable system. So here are 3 simple mindfulness habits derived directly from our astrological framework to slow down those rapid responses. Step 1. Pause the immediate reaction. Literally, just take a breath. Step 2. Fully assess the situation. Are you actually under threat, or is this just a minor misunderstanding? Step 3. Consciously manage your energy before speaking. Decide in that exact moment to use your words as a tool for resolution rather than a weapon for victory. And that brings us perfectly to our final part, Section 5, Mastering Mars for Leadership and Claiming Your Power.
When you finally master this placement, incredible things start to happen. You step into this totally natural leadership role during a crisis. Imagine the neighborhood is facing a big issue, and everyone else is just complaining in a group text, but too afraid to act. Well, your Mars energy gives you the rare courage to actually knock on doors and fix the problem. You have a unique willingness to engage in difficult conversations that most people just shy away from. That makes you an unbelievable asset, leading to high involvement in your community and workplace. People are going to naturally look to you for sure, because they know you aren't afraid to confront issues head-on.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a somewhat provocative thought to reflect on. You have a tremendous amount of fire and initiative at your disposal. So what's it going to be? Will you allow your fighting spirit to trap you in petty neighborhood battles and exhausting power struggles? Or will you consciously hone it, take that crucial pause before you speak, and truly take the reins of your natural, courageous leadership? Remember, the choice between wielding a weapon and utilizing a tool is entirely in your hands.